Hey guys, how's it going? To Testify here. I'm coming at you today with a different kind of video. Well, no, it's not different. I don't know why I always say that, but whatever. Let's get beyond that. Coming at you with a video that a lot of you will, I think, hopefully take a lot of benefit from, and learn a lot from also. This is basically a guide. I don't know why it does that sometimes, but it moves it when I'm trying to move the support. But this is basically a laning guide. It's to help people understand their lane a bit more, for whatever they're going to be doing in the lane, whether it be bot lane, mid lane, or top lane. This is going to be covering bot lane at first. This video is, at least, and then I'm going to end up making other videos for mid lane and then one for top lane, and then I think I'll make one for jungle, but it might be a little bit different since that's a whole different story and a whole different role. Definitely. So we'll have to see how things play out with that. Anyways, let's get on into it. As you see, I've got a few things laid out here, and I figured the best way to do this is just a simple photo editor and get a few things, move it around, and show you positioning and how you can learn from your positioning, and what it really affects. A lot of people, don't think it's important, but it's one of the most important things in the game of League of Legends is your positioning in almost any situations. 9 times out of 10, you are dying because you are out of position. Blatantly put, 9 times out of 10, most likely you will die because you were just out of position and you just, you made a wrong move. But let's get on with it. We're gonna be simulating as if we were the blue team, and then we'll go through as also if the red team. But as if we were the blue team now, we're coming to lane, creeps are coming in, and of course you wanna start farming. As an ADC, you're a lot more gold dependent than you are level dependent compared to an AP carry. Attack damage champions, carries in general, they are more gold dependent. They're gonna be needing that farm more than another lane, and that's why you have a support in your lane to not only help you CS, oh, excuse me, but also to keep you in lane as long as you can, and also pick up other kills on the other team. They're there to support you. So you come to lane. Right now you have no wards out. Everything is you fog of war all around here. Can't see very much if you're this AD carry and the support. You don't have a wide range. Same goes with this one. I don't know why it does that sometimes. I'm trying to grab that. There it goes. Okay. So they're coming up. Of course, they're gonna start CSing. You're gonna start CSing, and your supports are typically gonna settle down in the bushes for a bit, and not do much more beyond that early on in the game. Nothing wrong with that. That's typical start for what you want to do. Keep in mind, no wards have been placed. I have things to ready to simulate ward placement and everything, but let's focus on CSing at first, and then figuring out how the other team is going to be playing. I believe playing aggressive is good, passive is also good, but I believe a balance between the two and being reactionary is best, at least from what I've seen. And being able to react to an opponent in a way that's going to make them end up either A, losing CS, or B, die, which is always great in any situation. So at first, when I typically come to lane as an AD carry or a support, I like to look at the other two and see how they're acting. Is the other AD carry really aggressive? Is he poking me a lot? Is the support really aggressive? Is he wanting to set up a lot of kills? Is he overextending? Is he doing anything that's going to really put him in a bad position? Are they doing things, or are they playing real passive? Are they sitting back, just trying to get as much farm as they can? They're not really worried about getting kills or anything like that. They just want to, chill. Are they pushing a lane? Are they letting the lane get to their tower. These are things you need to be asking yourself early on in the game as an AD carry or support for whatever side you're playing on. So, let's just start off with an early example of red lane pushing on you. They're playing really aggressive. They're pushing pretty hard on you. And you're pretty much backed on the tower. A few things that need to be noted is your positioning upon this situation. You don't want to be in a position that is going to allow their support, because most likely their support is going to be sitting in this bush. You don't want to be in a position where that can royally screw you over, such as they have a Blitzcrank or a Thresh. You don't really want to be gripped outwards from that turret, and then of course capitalized on a kill by their AD carry and their support, while your support, or even the support gets gripped in, or whatever the situation may be. You don't want to be put in that situation. There's many ways to deter this, judging on your situation. One of the easiest ones is just to plop a ward in that bush. And I had these eyes made to signal a ward. So after that's plopped in there, this support typically is not going to be wanting to sit in this bush much. He does, he might still sit in the bush and not do much, but he's not gonna really worry about it. That layer needs to be above that layer. Hold on 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay, so typically he'll probably sit in this bush still. Sometimes he'll come out and try to find a way around creeps. Don't do that. Okay, sorry about that. I gotta get used to this a little bit more. But he'll come out and he might find his way around creeps to try to get a grip if he's one of the more aggressive champions or something of that sort. Even Leona will try to do this, but Leona can go over creeps. Anyways, that is a great deterrence at that point, because then you can see it coming. You can then react accordingly. If you can't see it coming when you first start casting it, you're cutting a lot of time that you have for getting out the way and being able to avoid it. It's just how it works sometimes. Placing that ward in that bush is definitely going to help you to prevent that in whatever situation it may be. Now, you still have a few spots when pushed up against tower that you need to be aware of. Not only are these two a threat in your lane, and they might want to try to capitalize on a kill via something that the support would do, or just some poke that they'd be able to capitalize on, and then an MF ultimate, Draven ultimate, Ezreal poke, whatever it may be. There's a lot of options that they currently have. Poke, that's something you don't want to be susceptible to. You need to be able to dodge whatever it may be. It's just something that you're expected of. If you are getting poked a lot, it might be better to sit further back like this and get them to push farther up on your turret. Use your turret to your advantage. It's there for a reason. Sure, it is going to be tougher to farm under turret, but your support should be able to help you out. This is where I was talking about supports helping their AD carries farm. A lot. You don't see this a lot, but it is very, very helpful for your AD carry if you're a support. And that's when you have the minions. When you have your minions coming to the tower. I should have made minions. Little minions coming up, riding their way up. But whatever. If they're coming up to the tower, you have your frontline minions, then you have your casters in the back. Your frontline minions are basically what you need to be focusing on as an AD carry, is that they can take 2 tower hits and then an auto hit to get your last hit, your gold, that you need to be focusing on. So if it's at full health, if the minion is at full health, then you know that it can take 2 tower hits and then your last hit, and then you're good to go. You will get that last hit. If you do, let the tower shoot it twice, then pick it up. Of course, if you have your minions in lane, they're wailing on those other minions, which is most likely happens in a lot of situations. Be smart, make an adjustment from there, and try to get as much as you can. Your goal is to get as much CS as you can. You need to be focusing on that, especially very early on in the game. Wait until around level 3 or so. I would recommend to start thinking if you're wanting to harass, or if you're going to play a passive lane. Depends on your situation that you're currently in. The ones in the back, though, are in a very odd situation. The casters. Their CS is just as important, even though they are worth a little bit less gold There's the CS of those are just as important. What needs to happen sometimes is that this support needs to come up and auto attack each one time. The reason for that is their auto attacks do not do as much damage as your auto attacks. Hence why you're an AD carry. If you were to auto attack them once and then let the turret hit it once and then try to auto attack it, it would be dead by the turret shot. It just happens like that sometimes. And you wouldn't be able to pick it up that easily. If you let your support hit it, they're going to lower it to a point where you can easily one-hit it, and then you're set. You're good to go. That's just something that supports a lot of times miss out on doing, is on that back line with the caster minions, you need to be able to hit them once, and then it's going to make CSing for your AD carry a lot easier, because once that one tower hit goes in for it, all the AD carry has to do is its last hit, and then it's going to pick up those caster minions. Siege minions is a whole different story. That's just paying attention to it, just like if it was one of the frontline minions or a caster minion in lane, and hitting it at the correct time. That's all that. That's the only difference between them currently right now. That's basically how you're going to CS under turret. Those are things that it's going to vary beyond situations. How hard is the other AD carry pushing on you, things like that. That's something you need to make a judgment on at that point. Don't be afraid to use your abilities either. If you have, if you're Ezreal and you have, your Q is wonderful for helping you farm creeps. If you're not sure that you're going to get that, use that Q. It's worth that extra. It's worth the mana for that gold. Use it. If you're worried about not getting it, but you think you can secure it by using an ability, then use it. Ashe's thing, Ashe's volley, MF's raining bullets thing. I don't even know what the hell it's called, but whatever. So, beyond that, now we have a nice understanding of what CSing under turret is possible and what we're able to do just because we're able to get proper CS under the turret. I don't want to do that. So, let's look at another situation that you're going to get caught in. Let's say you've gotten into a skirmish. Let's say for some reason he gets gripped in, and you're out here somewhere, but he gets gripped in, but you decide that you want to fight it. This 80 carries over here. You're over here. You have two options that you currently have from this position. You can either that's not working. Come on. Paintbrush. Give me a brush. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. My bad. You can either A, attack the support, or B, attack the AD carry. Now those are two completely different options, and it's going to give you two completely different results on your situation. If you're wanting to go for a kill, you need to be smart about your situation that you're currently on. What really needs to be addressed, though, is a rule that you always need to follow as an AD carry, and that's ABS. A, B, S. Let's underline that, because that's super important. ABS, which means always be shooting. Simple enough, always be shooting. You always want to be auto-attacking and putting out as much DPS as you can. It's just like if you're a WoW raider and you're a DPS, you don't just stop in the middle of a fight for some reason unless told to by your raid leader or something like that. WoW. But you want to get the highest DPS that you possibly can. Same thing applies to League of Legends. You want to ABS, always be shooting. Meaning if this target is out of your range, let's say you're blue side ADC and there's a skirmish going on down here, and this ADC red side is out of your range. Well, according to the rule of always be shooting, at that point your job should be focusing on the closest target to you, the one that you can hit. Now, if this AD carry is to get closer, this AD carry was to close in a little bit and get closer, it might be best to switch targets. That depends on the situation. If this support is about to die and you can pick it up with taking a few shots from their AD carry without you dying, because your life is far more important than that support's life, unfortunately so, even though that support is probably an awesome guy for playing support, go for that kill. Take that kill if you're able to capitalize on it. If not, if you're not able to capitalize on it and you have to back off because the other AD carry is either A, doing too much damage, or B, you were too low health at the start of the fight, then it might be best for you to back off under turret, let your support also, should be able to realize at that point, hey, we should back off of this situation. We're not going to win this fight with this AD carry hitting me. Whatever it may be. Your support also needs to be aware of the same situation. Your support is going to be supporting you in whatever fashion that they can. If it's a Soraka, they'll be healing you, giving you mana. If it's a Nunu, Blood Boil, whatever it may be, it's going to vary between champions. That's how they're going to be helping. But that support should also be paying attention to what you are doing, and then also what the other people are doing. That's a very tricky job. Paying attention to what 3 people are doing. Well, all of them, everybody in that lane should be paying attention to what all 3 people are doing. And what's going on. So if your support sees you start backing off, your support should be smart enough to start backing off. Or if your support sees that AD carry walking up, and if it's a Nunu that you're playing with, or Taric or something like that, your Taric should be smart enough to have saved your stun, not used on the support. And then as soon as that AD carry walks up, if wanting to attack your AD carry, you should be able to be smart enough to stun their AD carry, so your AD carry has free reign on your support that you've been already gunning down. If that happens, then great, wonderful. If not, then whatever. If it's Taric, stun, Nunu, Snowball, I'm gonna call it Snowball. I don't remember the exact name of it. It's the Q. But those are small things that need to be capitalized on when you're going through and doing whatever it may be. As Always Be Shooting says, there it goes. Always Be Shooting says, make sure you capitalize on, getting as much DPS as you can. If that, kill the support. If you can't kill the support and the AD carry walks up, then back off. Your life is not worth it unless you're going to guarantee that they kill. If you're going to guarantee a trade, great. But if you trade a support for an AD carry, well, that's not good. Now he gets to remain in lane a little bit longer, unless he's real low health. Then he'll back off. But either way, he would get to remain in lane a little bit longer. Probably pick up a few more CS and get ahead on CS. That's not good at all. 10 CS is pretty detrimental, especially in a high elo, high game, high plays. So those are things that you need to be paying attention to upon that. So on to another situation is jungle presence. Don't move, map. Please do not move. Thank you. Okay, so it's jungle presence, and what you need to be handling that as a support and also as an AD carry. Keep in mind, whatever the situation may be, let's say you are playing blue side. Hold on one second. Let's say you're playing blue side and you're fairly pushed up onto your turret, and you may have got a Mia call from mid. You may have just known that the jungler is nearby bot. Whatever it may be. Those are things you need to be aware of, but how are you able to deter that situation so you're not going to be dying from whatever position you are? Now, this is going to vary along the whole entire line right here. Wherever you are. We'll start right here since I already have the pieces set up in this area. But let's say you're pushed under turret pretty well, and the jungle wants to come in and do whatever he may be doing. So if the enemy jungle, of course, is probably going to be coming from his jungle. 80%, 75%, 70% of the time, around 70% of the time, he's most likely going to come from his jungle and try to go on a route similar to this, to do a gank like that. Sometimes that's not going to work, just because of the fact that you should have that warded as a support. He should actually cross through double wards there as a support, so you're able to cover that. Now, of course, you're going to get pinked sometimes, and that happens more often than not, where where you get pinked ward. So let's assume that you had a ward right there. At that point, you've officially covered your situation fairly well. You're like, hey, he's there. We know he's there. We should back off, of course, under turret a bit more. Where we're careful. Now, if they're wanting to dive this turret and they're in a situation where they can because you're low health and your support's low health, go ahead and just leave lane. Just literally, no, don't do that. Go ahead and literally just go that way and leave. You see the hand? See that little hand down there? Follow that hand. Go that way and leave the lane. Just leave the lane. There's no reason to hang around. It's not worth losing both your lives unless you're confident in your ability to take on 3. That's not going to be many people that are going to be confident in that ability. Depending on the jungle, also, if it's a squishy jungle, you might be able to make something work. If you have summoners still up, it might be worth to take that risk. These are things you need to be thinking about. If your support has an exhaust up or a heal, and you still have cleanse, barrier, whatever it may be, this might be something you want to contest. If they want to dive your turret, they're not, high level or anything like that. Something to definitely take into consideration for whatever situation it may be. So, upon that, let's say you decide to hang around, and this jungle wants to gank you under tower, and they're going to tower dive. So they can do that in multiple ways. He can go that way, he can go that way. Well, he's not really going to go through that way, but let's try that. He can go that way. AD carry can go that way, and then the support can, of course, go that way. This is going to cause, you're pretty much surrounded for whatever situation it may be. Now, of course, some AD carries have a little bit more mobility, whether it be Ez or Corki, and you're able to, move around a little bit better. Some not. Ashe doesn't have a lot of mobility. Varus doesn't have a lot of mobility. It's just how some champions work out. But, being able to work in a situation is what you need to be able to do. Pay attention to who the turret's hitting in this situation. If they do want to turret dive you, you want to compete it. Upon that, pay attention to who the turret's hitting. If the turret is hitting their AD carry, then that's great. You need to be focusing on that AD carry and, getting that one dead. If you kill their damage, they're not going to kill you because they can't do any damage, logically speaking. So let's say their AD carry, of course, accidentally overextends or, something of that sort, and the turret starts hitting them and they continue diving off of that. Your support, of course, needs to be smart enough. If they have any stuns or anything like that, you want that turret to keep hitting them as much as you can, and then you want to, of course, also apply damage onto that person, so you can get them dead in a quick fashion and with the help of the turret. Stuns, slows, anything like that you can do to, get that going well. Most of the times, what's going to happen is the support will be tanking the damage from the turret. There's nothing wrong with that, but you still have the issue of, your AD carry. This enemy AD carry is pretty much going to have free reign over you under turret. I would handle this in either one of two situations, and it's very tricky sometimes. If you can push the support out from underneath your turret, and the AD carry is wailing on you under the turret, like if you have a Vayne condemn, and the support is, just started taking the turret and the AD carries closing in, you condemn the support out, condemn the support, boom, push them back this way, and then, it's either A, the jungle's going to start taking the hits, or the AD carry. Typically, it's going to be the AD carry because they'll be closer to the turret at that point, and the jungle will be coming in from this backside right here. And the AD carry will start taking hits, and then you can continue from there and, getting everything taken care of. how it needs to be done. Oops, a little bit too much. So that's definitely going to help you in your situation of covering your butt there. If the jungle does, that's fine too. You're still hurting a good damage. Unless they have a very tanky jungle, then you might as well. You're probably fucked. You should have backed off. Then I don't know what else to tell you there. But it really depends on the situation, on how it needs to go. Keep in mind, the longer you stay alive underneath the turret, the more damage they are taking from the turret. So be smart with your cooldowns that you currently have, and use the turret to your advantage. If the jungle's melee, which typically all jungles are melee, and the support is melee, and they need to get in range to do DPS to you, and this AD carry is, of course, he's ranged 99% of the time at least. Use your turret to your advantage. You want to keep this person off as much as possible. Well, go to this side of the turret, down here in the bottom, away from him, so he has to go real near the turret. Then when he gets near, go over here. Play Ring Around the Rosie with this turret all day. Don't be afraid to do that. It's something. Some people call it cheap, but hey, it ain't cheap. Do what you have to do to win the game, whatever it may be. But yeah, use that turret to your advantage. Use creep block to your advantage. A lot of people don't think of it, but creeps are there at all times, and a lot of champions can get hardcore creep blocked, and it sucks. I hate creep blocking. I hate getting creep blocked, but it happens. Use creeps to your advantage. Make a few rounds around those creeps while you're under turret. If you can keep that melee off of you, then you're doing great. It's just simple kiting as an AD carry. Now, also stick to your rule. Always be shooting. You want to be putting out as much damage as you can. Now, granted, you do want to help out the turret as much as possible. If the turret's doing a large amount of damage to a certain target, and if you're able to put damage onto that target, then great. But if that target's out of your range, and you're not able to put damage on that target for whatever reason it may be, then you might want to pass it up, look at a different situation that it might have in turn. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, one thing before we do go any further, saying the jungle can only come from this way, that's wrong. The jungle can also come through this way, and through here, through the backside, through these bushes. So, ward placement is very important in here. That's a pink ward. We don't need a pink ward. So, ward placement is always very important, whether it be right there, or wait, that one was right there already, or that one right there. So those are two very, very important wards for whatever situation you may have. Let's knock out these black lines. Okay. Give me my wards. Put that one there. Give me this one. Put that one there. Put that one there. Put that one there. So you're probably looking at this and wondering, what the hell am I doing? Well, these are your effective ward positions in bottom. At least what I've found with the situation, that whatever may be. Your job in bottom varies for whatever situation it may be. As an AD carry, you have your job is, of course, to get to a point that you are able to carry the game, hence the name, carry, the title carry, and then also keep control over Dragon, this little dude right here. That guy. He's big and bad. Well, he's not that big and bad, but he's worth some money. He's got a lot of money in his pockets, and you need to be taking that money as often as you can, but you also need to do it in a safe fashion. Now, whatever it may be. So, what we want to address now is going to be your Dragon control. In most situations, you're not going to be touching Dragon unless one of these guys are off the map, meaning either A, dead, or B, just backed. That, or even the jungle's dead. You can do it if the jungle's dead. That's also a good option. If the enemy jungle is dead for some reason, you can do it then also. And that's something you want to keep control over. If they have no wards on it, you're going to be a lot safer in taking it, just because they might know you're there, because, you know, it's just typical what you would do if you were to kill one of them. But I just forgot what I was going to say. But without a ward there, they're of course not going to be able to know how much health it has at the moment, and, you know, what they need to do to, you know, maybe get a steal or something of that sort. You need to be focusing on that, paying attention to those, and then also using your abilities at the last second on that dragon to, you know, help with that situation. If your jungle's there and able to smite it, then as long as your jungle's not mentally retarded, which if you're playing solo queue, you're going to run into this situation sometimes where your jungle's just probably going to fail smite. It just happens. Everybody does it. It happens. But if you have a pink ward on it and the other jungle is not able to see it without diving into the pit right on top of you guys, then, you know, great. That's going to help your situation out a lot, just because they don't have any vision. He has to play guesswork at that point. It's going to work. It's going to happen like that sometimes. And with your positioning, you might be able to work some other things out. So with this ward positioning, your basic ward positioning, you're going to be able to cover a lot of the map. Typically, you don't want to place, at least from what I've seen from experience, you don't want to place a ward much right here in this bush, just because you don't get a lot of vision. These two visions overlap, meaning you're not getting your full amount of vision that you could have gotten, because this gives vision, you know, kind of out to here. That gives vision pretty much in this area, in a general basis. And then any ward that's in this bush is going to give vision over in that area, pretty much. So there are better places I would see placing a green ward here. I would always recommend placing a pink ward in the bush directly, because if you pink here, and they have a pink ward here, well, your pink ward is useless compared to theirs, because they're just going to take your pink because you were dumb enough to place your pink there. You know, whatever it may be. Because you were dumb enough to place your pink there. Yeah, sorry, I got that backwards for a second. But if you place your pink in there, and you know, you see that they have a green ward here, something of that sort, then, you know, great. Typically what I see best to ward, if you are, you know, playing here, if you're playing bot lane, blue team bot, which you get on this side, not only is it safer to ward, put your ward here, or, you know, kind of farther down this way. Not only is it safer because you don't have to cross the river, which, you know, it's not that far, and, you know, but if jungle presence is coming down the river and if you extend out to place a ward, you know, those are just situations you want to avoid. You don't want to worry about that. But let's say you go over here to place a ward, and you place if you place a green ward there, and they have a pink ward in the bush, great. That's out of the vision of this pink ward, which should extend, you know, kind of like that. Maybe it might be a little bit further, but that should be out of the vision of that pink ward. That's definitely going to help you out in whatever situation you may have, and cover a lot of bases for what needs to be done. You're going to have this jungle entrance warded here, and then you're almost going to have dragon warded. If you want to go ahead and carry that all the way to dragon, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you have this jungle entrance warded here, that's very important. So you know that if this enemy jungler is coming down this way, and you know you can be aware if he's going to be ganking from down this way, or going through and going around that way, as we discussed earlier. So it definitely varies upon the situation that you're currently in, and, you know, where things are going to be going for warding. Also, AD carries your support is very your support doesn't get a lot of gold. That's why they buy these GP5 items. I don't know if they're GP10 or GP5. GP10, I think. I don't remember. You know, if you're seeing your supports out of wards and you have no ward coverage, you need to be playing very smart upon this situation. Keep in mind that it's pretty much that the enemy jungler is either going to be coming from this way or he might coming from this way. It's very unlikely that the enemy jungler would go around that way, just because it takes a lot of time. It's just, not super effective for whatever situation it might be. He might come around this way too if he came around this way and then around there and then out that way, whatever. But it just depends on whatever's happening for that situation. So that's definitely something you need to be keeping aware of. If they are coming from that way, and you're not getting heavily harassed by this, and you don't have against a champion that can do, something that can stun you up against the wall, don't be afraid to hug the wall as an AD carry. The farther you can put yourself away from enemy presence as an AD carry, whether it be their jungle, whether it be their support, whatever it may be, to prevent you from getting killed, the better. So if you are hugging this wall along this side, and you catch it, if you're hanging out over here, let's give a bad example first. Let's say you're hanging out right here. You're just chilling, CSing. You got your back right here. It's not bad. You got shitty situation. You can go that way, or you can go that way. But also you need to keep in mind. Let's say you don't have this bush warded. Let's say that one isn't there. Which one is that? That one. Let's say you don't have that bush warded. And this jungle, but you have it warded right here, so you think, oh, you're okay. He's not gonna come from this way. Well, lo and behold, he comes from this way, and you got a jungle presence right here now. Well, that's not a big gap he has to close to get to you. Not only that, you're not taking any support from your turret at that position. So that's something I definitely do not recommend, just because you're putting yourself out there where you really don't need to be. Chill over here. You'll be cool under your bush. Right here is fine too. Right there is fine, because, if it is jungle, he has to go around, and he'd still have to go around that way. If he was in that bush and went that way, still, that's a short distance he has to cover, and you still don't know he's there until he gets right there in that bush. Well, until he comes out of the bush, not actually in the bush, until he comes out of the bush. So, don't be afraid to hug your turret. Don't be afraid to do things like that. If you're losing your lane, you need to be able to be. You don't want to die. Dying is bad. Just plain and simple. Dying is bad. Try to not let it happen. Of course it's going to happen sometimes. You're going to get caught out. It happens. Those are the situations you learn from a lot. But, don't be afraid to hug your turret, because you don't want to. You might lose a few extra CS, but you're not giving that AD carry an extra 300 gold. If you feed that AD carry 9 times out of 10, that AD carry will carry the game. Hence his name. If he gets fed. Now, of course, it depends on how your other lanes are doing and things like that. Wards on these bushes. Depends very much, whatever situation you might be in. I always recommend, if you're in a stalemate in the middle, I always recommend your support to have, if you're playing bot lane right here, I always recommend your support to have at least this ward at the minimal. If you're playing blue side, you can get away with it sometimes. But if you're playing blue side, I always recommend your jungle to have a ward at least, right here, and then, in this bush, because you want to keep an eye on, if their jungle was to come in from this side and want to do a lane gank. If you don't have a ward in that bush, he's in lane with you. 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to die in that situation just because he was able to close in that quick. If that jungle didn't have any hard CC or anything like that, well then, that's their fault for picking a shitty jungle. It's pretty much their fault for picking a shitty jungle at that point. So, it varies upon every situation, but yeah, definitely keep in mind what's going on there. Now, of course, if you're on red side, as the support, I always recommend, keeping a ward there, keeping a ward here. This is just minimal talk. If you have a sight stone, and you can only place 2 wards down at the moment, keep a ward there, and a keep a ward there, because this is the shortest path for the jungler. Those three are the shortest path for the junglers. And junglers are not going to lie to you, junglers aren't people that are just going to be like, oh, I'm going to go all the way around this way, even though they might have it warded and it's going to cause me trouble because I might have an issue. They don't want to waste all that time. The more time they waste, that's time that they're losing on their jungle. They could have been spent farming it, or, ganking another lane. They have a lot of duties as a jungler that they still have to cover. Those are things that, you can think of if you've ever jungled. If that jungle gets behind, it's going to be pretty detrimental for his team. So he has to make plays quick if he wants to keep up, and do whatever it may be that he needs to do. So, a basic layout of your positioning that you need to have in your lane, where your wards can go. Let's move that. Hold on. You need to go over there. Like right there. A basic positioning of where to ward, wherever it may be. And then also, where to pink your positioning for whatever situation that you might have. It varies greatly upon any situation. And there's no surefire way to win your lane. There's no surefire. Well, no, let me reword that. If you know what you're doing, if you know what you're doing in your lane, and you focus on your CS, and you get your CS, you don't die often. You don't die much. You take opportunities where you are given a chance to get a kill on an AD carry, on a support, on a jungle, whatever it may be. If you take opportunities and you get kills, you CS as well as you physically can, and you are map aware and you have a great position as an AD carry, you'll do very well in your lane. Now, if the other AD carry is better at that, then you're not gonna. You might lose your lane. One mistake can throw the lane out the window and cause a lot of issues. It just depends on, how you handle it and what you need to do to be able to make sure that you're not going to have any further issues at that point. Pay attention to what's going on in the lane, pay attention to people's positioning, and pay attention to jungle presence, because those are your main focuses on what's going on. AD carry, that's a very important job for a team. Support, just as important, because if you're not supporting that AD carry, then he's not going to be able to carry, because he's squishy, he can die easily. Those are things you need to pay attention to. This is just a basic, it's a basic in-depth guide over the lane of what you need to be focusing on. Now, I think I'll make a second part for Red Team. I can go over, some of the things for them, but it's almost the exact. No, I'm not going to make a second part. I'm too lazy for that. But it's almost the exact same thing. Your jungle presence can go this way, that way, or that way. You need to be smart. If you know he's coming this way because you have a ward there, you might be smart just to plop a ward down right here. One of them eyes. You know what I mean? Plop a ward down there. Because, hey, he's there, you might as well have vision on him because you want to know when he's going in or if he's going to be doing anything against you. Those are things that you need to be paying attention to at all times and, capitalizing on whatever situation it might be. Always try to have one of these bushes warded according to wherever your creep wave is. Your creep rage right here, have this one warded. If your creep wave is down here, have this one warded. Up here, it doesn't matter that much because your support's probably going to be chilling in the bush. But, be smart about what your positioning is. If you're extended up here and this jungle presence comes down, you don't, you can run down this way to get away. Or you can run over this way. You want to keep your distance away. Be smart about your positioning. Just simple things that if you focus on those and you capitalize on those the little things, you'll do a hell of a lot better in your lane. Focus on your CS. Focus on your positioning. Always ABS. 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 A. B. S. looks like a D. Whatever. And an 8. It looks like hell. It looks like a lot of things. Whatever. Always be shooting. If you focus on those, you'll do a lot better in your lane. It'll help you out in the long run. Simple enough. No other way to put it. This has just been a short guide, AD carry, support, bot lane in general. Just positioning on what you need to be focusing on, and helping you out in whatever situation. I guess it's not really a short guide. I don't know how long I've been recording, but whatever, that doesn't matter. This is to testify, guys. You'll probably see this video a little bit. I don't even know when. Whatever. That don't even matter. Learn. Watch the whole thing. Don't just skip to the end. I know you people. I know how you operate sometimes. I'll try to include maybe a few links in the description. Whatever. I'm still rambling on. I'm just rambling. This is to specify. I'll see you guys later.